Welcome back, guys, to episode 9. If you missed all the other episodes, links are below. Tune into those, see where we got to. But stick around for now and we show you what's coming up next. One tyre tub. Took me over an hour to make because to make these folded edges here, I had to take the blade out. Must weigh 40 kilos. And the base must weigh twice that. You've got to move it, flip it, make these full folds on either side. Let's swap it all out and then make the bends on the inside, do some test runs. So I didn't want these edges to be fully 90 degrees. I wanted them just shy of 90 degrees, so you've got that kind of well. There we go, one tyre tub. So I'm hoping it's going to be very good. Right, so this is our wheel chuck. I'm kind of going to leave it in this orientation. I'm going to chop the legs off. So I've made that to accommodate the entire width of this, because it's got this box section. It's going to give the box some more strength, so that's why I wanted to bolt it to that. Okay, another weekend, back again. I've just moved the bike forward so I can measure from the bar. I'm probably going to go 80 centimetres out, which is quite a way out, but when I load the bike up, one will give me a step, and then it'll give me an area to hang the trailer board, which will just past the footrest. The bars, the square bars that I've got to go in there are currently 1.5 meters, so they give me 700 in the box section, which I think is plenty. Okay. Previously I mentioned that these box sections had a weld seam in the centre. The box sections they go in, they're going to end up jamming up on those weld seams. So I may have to grind the groove in the centre of those bars, just so they go in and out freely. Now I was going to make this bar one piece welded, but if those bars, the square bars on the van, are not parallel, even if there's a couple of mil deviation, a fixed bar section will end up jamming or try to rack in there. So this is going to be a bolted system, and the other thing is, if it's bolted, I can take it apart and I can neatly put it away in a corner instead of having this big frame to put somewhere. So I'm going to get the bars, see if I can get them in there 700, see how easily they go in. I don't want to run a groove down the centre of the whole thing, I just need to do it 700. Well, that goes in okay.
You've got PSF4 gear.
So that fits in well. Well, I'm 80 kilos, so there's no movement on that at all. Okay, let's get the other bar. That went a little bit too far. Okay. Okay, I managed to get the bar back out. Got my disc cutter here, so I've just ground the end off where it was jamming. Thankfully it was only the last 10 centimetres, so there wasn't a lot of grinding to do. I've marked my 800 mark. Just got a piece of steel. I'm just going to weld that in there as my stop point, so I don't have to keep going to a pen mark which will disappear after a couple of goes. So this way it will stop at 800 without any issues. It'll be the same on the other side, so we'll always know we're in the right place. I am going to weld the end caps up. I'll either weld them up or I'll have something going across there. I've got some angle iron next door, so I may cut some angle iron. That will cap the ends when they're bolted together. And then I'll have something to hang the trailer board off. First things first, let's tack these in place. I'll get the other one into 800 as well. I've got a feeling that one may need a bit of grinding as well. There's our mark here. Yeah, so probably needs about 5 or 6 centimetres of grinding at the back. I can just see where it's catching. Okay, I'll do that and then we'll weld them both together at the same time. I've hit a slight dilemma. Just having a look at this section that I've made. Its edge is quite flimsy even when it's bolted down. I've got a sheet of stainless to put in there. Not making much difference, to be fair. Got this stainless box section here. I'm going to put this entire frame in from edge to edge. So the plan is now to use that box section instead of these side frames. So that will be the continuation of this, and we're going to run that front to back. I've made this gap at 200. The tyres 180, and it's radial, so only the centre is going to be touching. So we're going to run these end to end, bolted in, and then we'll stick that wheel chuck in the centre, bolt that through, and make the whole thing rigid. You know, I made all that strong. I might as well make this strong as well. So plan now is cut these rails down to the length of the frame, get them drilled. I've got my the nut riveter, so these things here, so I can stick those in there and we can bolt it from the bottom. Or I could there's enough in here to tap it and thread it, so I can tap and thread, or I could use those rivet nuts. But if I use rivet nuts, I've got to make the holes bigger. If I thread this, then I can make the holes smaller. Remember when I said my plans were flexible? These bits I was going to weld here, changed my mind. I've drilled it, tapped it, and put some bolts in there. I said plans change. Now, this is a camper van. You can utilise it not just for motorcycling, but you know, if you go away, you might want to take a mountain bike, and this rack is way too far out to put bicycles on there. So, by making these bolts removable, I can push the bars further in and use it as a bicycle rack. So if need be, I can put another stop further down here, push the bars further in, have a shallower hang off for bicycles, so I can utilise it for more than just one thing. So when things are removable, it's a lot better than fixed. I just want to put the bumper on here, so I just need to cut these out. I've got my air buzz saw, so I'm going to use my air saw for that because it's going to be a finer cut. And then back here on this box section, on both sides, I'm going to drill a hole all the way through, and then on top of this bumper I'll have a little cutout so that I can have a fixing bolt going all the way through, out the bottom. So one, we can bolt at the top here, and two, we can have a hole in the pin that goes through and put an R-clip in there. So if God forbid it unscrews, it still has a secondary backup. Let me cut this on both sides. I'll put the bumper in, see where we're going to cut this hole out. Whilst I'm here, I might as well do something here. I'm probably debating whether to weld a nut at the top or at the bottom. If I weld a nut at the top, I'll wind it all the way down. If I weld a nut at the bottom, then I can drop the pin in and wind it afterwards. But baby steps. Let me do this one first. Okay, I've got some 12mm bar plan change. I'm just going to drill a hole. I'm going to put a 90° on this, drill a hole at the bottom for an R-clip. Weld a washer on here so it protrudes out the top slightly so I can get to it. That's all I need. So 12mm hole, this will be cut to about here, 90° handle on it, weld a washer on it, drop it through, put an R-clip in. That's it. No faffing with nuts, bolts, screws, none of that. Okay, and it's got a slight bend at the top, so I'm going to cut it lower down, the size we need, and get it done. There you go guys, 2 pins made. I was trying to explain. 90° bend in there, washer. So this drops into the hole now, put an R-clip in. I've also put a spring on there, stop this rattling around in the hole. And because you've got to push the spring down, put the R-clip in, the spring back will hold the clip in place. I am going to tether this to the chassis. I'll use some cable, put a hoop in it, and just rivet it onto the chassis somewhere. So when I pull this off, I don't lose it. If you lose that, there's a good chance the pin will come out. So all best laid plans don't always go well. So that fits in there, which looks good, in my opinion. I can't shut the door or even open the door. It's right in the way. The door goes to about there. Old school, nut and bolts. So it is what it is. That's it. 9-lock nut. It's a 12mm bolt, same as the bar. So just that this way I'll have to get the tools out to take it off. Well, there's the height of my ramp. At least I got this one right. But you can see how close that is. I couldn't get the pins past. Okay, so I've marked these lengths for the wheel chock and the pin that holds this. What I'm going to do with this is use the original bolts, but I'm not going to nut and bolt it. I'm going to stick some captive nuts in there, captive nuts. I will have to chop these bolts down a little bit, but then I can bolt straight into this without having to come out the side of this panel, because I've got the panel at a slight flare, and I don't want to pinch it back up. So we'll bolt this into here, and then we're going to bolt the whole lot down into the plate.
Nice and easy.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to load the bike up to the ramp. We're going to put the wheel chuck in, we're going to put it on there, line it up before I do any more drilling. What's this down? Shifting?
I'm doing it now, shifting.
You just spoiled the whole video, Sean.
Sorry.
You see your front.
That's roughly right, yeah.
Go down now.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117
it's fine, it's lined up. And to be fair, the weight of the engine's here anyway.
Yep.
So we're carrying the weight on one of the structures. So we've been at this for about 4 hours now. I tell you what, time just flies by when you're doing stuff like this. So that's bolted up, not to the frame yet, but it's bolted with the captive nuts to this frame. We had to cut and taper the ends of this this bar because when the tyre was coming in, it was sitting on it. Tyre sits back here, so we dropped the corners down. I've also put a fold on there and put a secondary piece of stainless in there at a slight angle. So when we put our ramp in it, we haven't got a flat piece, we've got a slight angle piece to match the angle of the ramp. It's all galvanised, so nothing's been welded to it, everything's going to be bolted. We've put some captive nuts into here from the bottom. We've bolted this bar in there to give it some strength at the back because this is where the wheel rests. We've put we've Loctited the bolts into the captive nuts. I'm going to put some rivets into the back here to make this. This is galvanised, so nothing's being welded to this. I'm going to do a couple of rivets in there, and then I'm going to make some corner pieces here just to tidy up the corner and give the corner some strength when we've got the ramp on there. Again, that'll be riveted. So this is how far we got at the moment. Trust me, that would have been a boring 4-hour video watching us drilling and grinding and doing all sorts of it. We're going to get back on this, finish it off camera, and then I'll show you the end result. There you go, guys. It's taken us all day. It's 6:15 at night now, and we've spent all day on this. Those reinforcing bars we put in, stainless steel, hard to cut, hard to drill, hard to tap. Looks a bit pitted there. I didn't weld enough, but I dropped the edges down so the tyre was coming up, we wouldn't catch the rough square edge. I've dropped the lip down here for the ramp, so the ramp will go under these feet. I'll think of a way of dropping it in there, either drill holes all the way through and just drop some pins through so the ramp is held in place and not obstructing the tyre coming up. So ramp left to do. Those pins I used for the hair, that they didn't work, so they're bolted up now. It's got nylock nuts in there, that's not going anywhere. Those pins, I am going to reuse those once we make the ramp for this. It's going to have to live somewhere, so it'll live at the back. So I'll drill some holes and I'll drop those pins in there. They've already got that spring in there to stop it from rattling, so that will stay in there. What I'll probably do is hunt around for some rubber pads. We'll put some rubber pads on there so it sits there and it doesn't vibrate on the metal. But it's done. You saw it held away at the bike when we put it on there with the forklift. So I've got no issues with what we've built here. So this is the next day now. The van's been outside. We've had the rain test. That's passed. Nothing's rusted away. These bars will be painted. So, but the rest of it will stay as it is. Right, I need to make a ramp now. I'm struggling with how I'm going to make it because once the bike starts to load up on it, if I make it similar to this, it'll have no strength in the centre and it will just probably fold on me. So I've done an experimental fold with a piece of scrap that I had, put some extra grooves in the bottom to see if it'll give it some strength. This is a very thin piece of stainless and it's very, very flimsy. But if I can make a ramp this shape to give the structure some strength, and then I can fill the centre in with another layer and rivet that on. Once it's riveted, those centre creases will act like angle iron. I've got no way of testing the strength of it until I make it, so right, measuring tape, some pen, guillotine, a folder, and we'll try and make or duplicate something like this, but obviously a lot longer. Okay, so I found this 2mm thick steel. It's galvanised. To be fair, it's thicker than what I used for the main bit. So I think for a ramp this might work well. Do you know what takes the time here is the faff about doing stuff. Now to do a particular fold on the ends here, which I did with the other one, is where I folded the lip over so we had a rounded lip, which is great because when you're taking your bike up you don't want to be catching a sharp razor edge, and that fold is quite handy. But to do that fold, I've got to flip this over to a different template, and then I've got to take this blade out and replace it with that one in the corner. Now this weighs about 40 kilos. Now that's 2 meters long. It used to be 3 meters long. We cut the ends off because this used to overhang. This is as wide as the room, but I don't fold anything that big. This guillotine was supposed to match that, but it's not wide enough. 127 is all I can cut on that. It's 1.27 meters. I was measuring the ramp, and I was measuring around 130, so 127 isn't an issue. That's going to take me 20 minutes to faff about with that. But if you have a look at that, you can see how sharp these edges are. Hence why I want to fold them off so they're around profile. It's worth doing because you're going to do it once. But roughly we're about there, and if I stick a couple of folds in it, we're pretty much there. Might be slightly too wide. That's okay. And then 2 extra lips, so we're probably about 6 centimeters too wide. Okay, I'll cut it to length. I'll do the 127 because that's all I can cut this way. We'll have our size we need, and then we'll progress from there. Well, there we go, it's made. That took me about an hour and a half to make last night. It was a lot of folds in it. It's got a very, very slight twist in it, but not enough to cause an issue. And it kind of fits. I've stood on it, it's quite strong, but I'm only half the weight of the motorcycle. So I'm tempted to stick a runner plate in there, rivet it on just to give it a bit more strength. The last thing I need is for like the buckle, once I put in the bike up or taking it off, because once that's done I'll never be able to get it back on. So I'd rather stronger than weaker. So I'll make a plate, I'll rivet down the sides, I'll double rivet in the centre, and that should give it the rest of the rigidity that I need. there. Creases make steel a lot stronger, so it's pretty strong. Right, it's early morning, it's a working day, so I have to throw this to one side and come back to it later. Okay, so I've skipped a bit of the video of making stuff and doing a few bits and pieces. You know, it drags on for the videos, and you know, I don't want you guys to get bored. Trailer board's on. The trailer wiring that I'd done, somehow I'd messed it up. All the lights were wrong. I think I'd wired it to the plug as opposed to the socket, so the things were backwards. That's sorted out. I showed you the ramp. Now I was going to put a plate in there, like I said, just to give it some strength, but sometimes you're too keen to rush, so I waited a day because I was working on the evening, spoke to the guys next door, and I got exactly what I wanted. I got a checkered plate to go in there, which if it gets wet and you're gonna, you know, ride your bike up when it's running, it stops it from wheel spinning, and it's a safer chance of getting it out of there without issues. I also machined up 2 pins to drop into this hole, which I've drilled, and that'll keep. I'll push it in. Keep the ramp in place while I'm going up, so it doesn't just shoot out from under the wheel. This is going to be riveted on, and then just up to that point there. So I'm going to do that next, rivet that on. Once that's done, I'm going to place it across there, drill a couple of holes, drop some pins in, that'll keep that in place. But I need some tie down straps, so I have to be careful where I mount the ramp, because if I have it too far over this way, I won't have an anchor point. I'm not planning on strapping the bars. I probably will strap the bars down, but in the middle of the motorcycle there's a hole where the frame bolt goes through. Going to stick a stud through there with 2 eyelets, and then we'll strap down this way. It kind of takes the pressure off the bars, because the bars are going to be strapped kind of backwards as opposed to forwards, so we're going to strap this way and strap this way. Next thing, gonna drill the checker plate, rivet that on. You don't need to see me doing more drilling and riveting, so I'll do that, and then we'll come back, and then I'll get the bike on, figure out where I'm going to strap it down, and then we'll figure out where this is going to go. Okay, check plate riveted on, pinned in, everything is set, the bike is there. So now, on camera, I'm going to load it up and see if this turns out to be a success or a disaster. So, I'm coming up one ramp, then a second ramp, and then up to here. So, we'll see how this plans out. Okay, it's on. That was reasonably easy. I've loaded bikes in and out of vans for years, so I'm quite good at handling them. Ramp felt great, bike feels great, the racks feels great, van feels great, suspension has barely dropped. So now, I've got to make a plan on tie down. This is where the rod's going to go, and we'll strap that way. So we're strapping against this. I've got the threaded rod over there, so I'll go grab that. We'll put that in. We'll see where we're going to make attachments. when I was stripping the back of the van out, if you saw the previous videos, there was some great tie down straps. So I'll probably end up using those on here. Recycle, reuse. And I may stick some at the back as well. It's good to have more than less. So I'll grab those and we'll attach those to the rack. So these are the tie downs. They've already got bolts in them, which is great. And they should be high tensile steel because they're tie downs. So plan is to put these here so I can have let me strap this way. So to be fair, I could probably use one strap to tie down and tie across. I don't really need two on there. To be fair, I could probably just go to that. Already got a hole there. If I go wide on this one, and then I can put the ramp further in this way. Okay, I'll get drilling. Right, that was another hour of faffing about. As you know, my plans are never set in stone. The ramp I've put underneath the bar now, so we can still have our tie straps, not interfere with these ones. It was getting very tight, I was having to go right over. So that's worked out well. Those pins that I'd made for the bit at the back before, I've utilised them here, so they haven't gone to waste. The pins I made for the back, I've just drilled some holes in it, put some R-clips in, so they'll live at the back. So we know where they are at all times. So I've already put one in, R-clips on there, and that one will go in there. I'm going to make some spares of these, and I'm going to carry some nuts and bolts. If I lose one of those, then well, it's not going to be a real big issue. That could end up going in the van, but I'd rather it stayed there. There's one R-clip holding those. What I may do as an addition, I've got loads of ratchet straps, so just throw one around end to end, just ratchet strap that up as well. Just another safety precaution, because if that comes off and takes out a biker or someone's windscreen, it ain't going to be pleasant. So, but that's working. This is working. The ramp's working. The tie downs are down. I've used thread lock in those just for added security as well. So we'll just head over to the back. So this is the threaded bar. This is what I'm going to use as my tie downs in the centre. So I've got another one there. So we'll go fit that to the bike. Well, the idea was good. Not massively heavy, but it's reasonably heavy. And I can't hold the weight to try and get this other pin out. Once I did that one, it just dropped. So what I'm going to do is I've got this offcut strip here. I'm just going to cut a couple of bits. And just rivet it over, so I've got a couple of handles where I can lift each corner up, put the pins in. Well, there we go, guys. So I made the handles. I've also put the edging on that I used for the windows to give it a comfier grip, top and bottom, so we can bring it up, put a pin in it, lift from the other side, put a pin in it, and vice versa to get it out. There we go, easy fix, made life a little simpler. Well, guys, I'm going to call it there for episode 9. Handles are on, works great. Episode 10, we'll be buying more bits for the van. Nice bits, stick around. If you don't subscribe, you're going to miss out. Hit that bell notification. As always, hit the like button, guys. It helps the algorithms on YouTube to go far and deep so others can enjoy these as well. As always, see you on the next one. Take care, guys.